So waiting for my steak to rest, dry-aged porterhouse. I could smell it. It has that funkiness to it. I wanted a wine that could stand up to it, as well as just being something a little different. I've been drinking a lot of Cab lately, so I didn't venture too far away from California. And since I did get some Carlisle wines recently, and I did say I want to age these a little longer, and if this Syrah isn't where it needs to be, and it's only 3 years, almost 4, it's almost 2022, I'm going to let the rest age for a longer time. 14.8% alcohol, 400 cases, low production, Syrah from Papa's block. Sometimes a wine reminds me of something, and then I remember that flavor profile forever in that wine, or I expect it. So like the caramel from Chapelet. There was a Malbec that I'm blanking on the name, but it reminded me of Blueberry Cobbler, and it was a Cab Sauv Malbec blend. This reminds me of, or reminded me, I think it was this wine, of Red Velvet Cake. The aroma and even a little bit on the taste. No sweetness, but if you took away the sweetness of a Red Velvet Cake, that's kind of what it reminded me of. So it hasn't been decanting for that long. I do believe these Syrahs out of Carlisle need a fair amount of decanting. I probably should have decanted it longer. I did put it in my flatter decanter so that more air gets exposed to it more quickly, but we'll give it a shot. I'm just waiting for the steak to rest, so just quick little video, and then get to eating and pairing this together. So when it comes to Syrah, pretty sure it's originated out of France. The alternate name for it being Shiraz out of Australia. They did take it and they made it this bombastic wine back in the, was it late 90s, early 2000s, around that time frame, and gave Australia a good name and then sort of a bad name because they were a little too fruit bomby. I believe then they kind of went, some of the fruit was overripe and they started getting almost like a burnt flavor to them, which was weird. Or really intense coffee flavor, like a Starbucks coffee flavor, where like the over roasting of beans type of aromas and flavors in the wine, and I gravitated away because I did used to like some Australian Shiraz and Cabs for sure, and I still do like some, and now they've come back to a restrained style. I do love the Margaret River, which is west side of Australia, and they do make great Bordeaux-esque type wines there, and Burgundian type wines there. Their Chardonnay is trying to be a Burgundian Chardonnay. Their reds out there trying to be like Bordeaux, and they absolutely have more of an elegance and a restraint to them. Coonawarra is an area in Australia that I absolutely love their Cabernet from. Just can't find it that often. Wynn's Black Estate, just can't find it. I wish I could. Anyway, all that to just talk about Syrah. And my favorite expression of Syrah comes from the Northern Rhone in France, from Hermitage, Côte-Rôtie. Spoke about it a million times. There's other regions up, Crozes Hermitage, more of a bargain area for Syrah up there. They could blend it with other grapes. Saint Joseph, same thing, really big area up there, but some more bargain-ish wines that are mainly Syrah. Then you have Cornas, 100% Syrah. I love Cornas, really small region up in the Northern Rhone. Hermitage, I think, is the smallest region, and also to me my favorite. I think, at least from what I've had so far of the Northern Rhone, but I'm pretty darn sure. I've had enough Hermitages just to love the rusticity and the feralness and the fruit and just everything it does, all the layers. It's just a dynamic wine. The wines there are dynamic. High price of entry, though. You're not getting anything cheap out of the Hermitage. Same goes for Côte-Rôtie. That's where the Lala wines exist. There's 3 wines that are called the Lalas, and there's 3 of them and a Côte-Rôtie that are amazing. Never had any of them. They're pretty expensive, but this is Syrah from California. So we got Australian Shiraz, you got Northern Rhone. You have some in the Southern Rhone, but they're using Syrah as the second. Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. Syrah is the second grape in there. So it could be anywhere from 30 to 40%. It's typically what you'll see in the Southern Rhone. So Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Vacqueyras, Gigondas, the Côte de Rhone Village wines that are down there. There's some more named villages now that they've added to the Côte de Rhone, the Southern Rhone. And to me, Northern Rhone is the best expression, most pure expression of Syrah, where it's in balance, elegance, although still big too. They're not weak wines. California does a little bit more of an unctuous thing, but absolutely has layers of flavor, at least from what I remember. And then you have Shiraz. So maybe one day I'll do one from all three of those regions, and maybe even something from local, like a New Jersey Syrah. And I've had a few that aren't half bad. So, let's see. Smells awesome. A lot of dark berry. I do not get that black pepper thing. So you get a black pepper a lot of times from Syrah, and I'm not getting it here. A touch, maybe a hair. It's very faint. It is still a little muted. It's mostly dark fruit and a little bit of a hair of black pepper, but barely. This is mostly a lot of dark fruit, and I do believe this thing needs to open up more. Now we'll let it do so over the course of the evening for sure. So, and I will have it probably again tomorrow. Maybe the day after tomorrow. I'm probably going to have a seared tuna, and I do need to decide what I'm going to pair a seared tuna with. It's got a delicious factor. The dark fruit all comes into play. So, you know, black raspberry, blackberry. It's very ripe blackberry, very ripe black raspberry. Dark cherries. Acid's fine. It's where it should be. Tannins are good. Length is long. It's an excellent wine. I do believe it needs more time. I still believe it's a little young. And I think it absolutely needs more decanting. I'm going to let some of these sit much longer. I think these Syrahs from Carlisle are so big. It's almost like got a juiciness. There's such a juiciness to it that I love. I feel like I'm doing it a disservice, but it is great. I'm actually thinking maybe I open up a different wine to have with dinner and have this maybe with the cheese in a little bit. I believe this just needs more time to be decanted to really show itself. So probably going to do that. You can feel a little of the heat, but it's balanced with how big this wine is. It's very big, and it is really no black pepper on the... There's like some baking spice on the end. You know, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg type of thing, but slight. It's slight. It is in the background. No red velvet cake yet. It's the tannins are there, but it's not super mouth puckering. The tannins are more like medium plus, and they're very smooth, really smooth tannins for such a young wine. And Syrah's not known for big, boisterous, harsh tannin, austere tannin. It's definitely not, but this is. I mean, this is going to open up very, very well, and age extremely well. All right, steak's had enough time to rest. I'm gonna go pour an Obsidian. Probably just do a little Corvin glass, have steak, come back to the Syrah later. That's it.